Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto, and welcome to this new video right here on the crypto markets. We'll talk about everything you need to know. All right, so we'll start off with some news and some fundamentals. We'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about Ethereum and XRP briefly. And at the end of the video, so if that's the only thing you're interested in, you can skip ahead, be my guest. Although I would definitely recommend you to check out my thoughts on the fundamentals and Bitcoin at least, right? But at the end of the video, we'll talk about a couple of altcoins that I think you need to keep your eyes on right now that can actually, we'll talk about them specifically, but that can actually rally up higher. So that's what we'll do. Let's get right into it. Had a pretty busy weekend, so wasn't able to do these middle of the day market updates then, so my apologies for that. But in this video, we're going to do a full update again in the classic way. So let's get right into it. Now, no major headline news. Obviously, every day I could tell you about the headlines, but I don't want to cause information overload either, right? I mean, at this point of time, there's no news, or there have been no headlines over the course of today, the calendar day at least, that are significant enough to talk about. The general fundamentals though in the markets are quite good. I mean, equities are very strong. You can see the S&P 500 opened higher. Now we have two gaps to the downside, so that's that's something to be aware of. I mean, very often, obviously, the crypto market is correlated to equities. So if there's gaps to the downside for equities, it's quite likely that we are going to go down and fill those, and that will have an impact on Bitcoin as well. And there's other reasons for Bitcoin to pull back a little bit lower as well, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Ultimately, this is good, right? Regardless of gaps to the downsides are obviously created by strength, and strength is what we want. It's just that we can pull back momentarily into those, cause some short-term volatility before heading higher. And unrest indicators are good as well. Volatility index is up slightly here, but ultimately it's still down significantly since Friday. And it's back at the same average levels as August and September, when we had plenty of bullish momentum. So that's good. Gold is also pulling back lower. So that's good to see as well. So generally, fundamentals are good enough. Russell 2000 is also rallying, so that's also a good thing for the crypto markets. Now, when we're talking about Bitcoin, which obviously still... Oh, by the way, talking about the fundamentals, Wednesday we have the Federal Reserve interest rate decision. That's going to cause volatility going into that, but also afterwards. I will still keep you updated on that. It's not major, but it's something you should be aware of. It's already certain that we are going to see a 25 base points cut, and I will be live streaming during that as well. But regardless of that, it usually causes volatility. So like I said, be aware of that. But talking about Bitcoin, look, Bitcoin at this point of time is fine. It's relatively stable. We had some volatility when the US markets opened, but since then, not much. And I would argue that we haven't seen enough. I mean, the thing with Bitcoin is, which, like I said, still matters a lot. I think ultimately, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. All right, I think we have seen some beautiful reclaims right here over the course of the last week, and I think we will be heading for that level at 117.5 and 119, and maybe higher as well. But that's what we'll talk about in due course. However, short term, it's I think there's two levels to watch, and that's first of all 114,000, and second of all between 112 and 112,700. Those are the key support levels, and so far, like I haven't seen a strong enough reaction yet from 114,000. I think we're going to pull back into that level. If we don't see a strong reaction there, then we're going to drop down. If we do see a strong reaction there, so I'm talking about a high volume spike, essentially, that's a good reaction. If we do not see that there, we're going to drop down. Ultimately, either 114 or 112,000, I think one of the two will find support. Which one of the two it will be depends on the reaction at 114,000. So that's personally what I'm waiting for right now. But I'll be ready in both scenarios. And like I said, ultimately my bias on Bitcoin is bullish. So I am looking for long setups and buy setups on altcoins, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well. Now, when we're talking about our majors, Ethereum, we're very much looking for some sort of confirmation, either below 4,100 or above 4,300. I would just wait for that, all right? Wait for 4,300 to break, then we have bullish confirmation. You can go long if you want to. That's not a signal, of course, but then I'd assume we're going to move higher into 4,500. If we drop down below 4100, I still am relatively bullish on Ethereum, but then we will retest that level between 4000 and 3960 before trying to break above 4200 and 4300 again. Those are my thoughts on Ethereum. XRP has been quite resilient over the course of today. Is my internet giving up on me right now? But XRP has been quite resilient over the course of today. There is some strength now as well, which makes me maybe a little bit worried about what I said this morning, because what I said this morning is that I still expected a move to the downsides before we would get a chance to reclaim above 2.8. It looks a little bit more likely on XRP right now that we're going to spike up first, but I do still expect from that spike that we will retest that level between 2.55 and 2.45 before having a real chance to reclaim 2.8 and 2.75, which is the key level that we need to reclaim if we want to become bullish on the higher time frames. But again, I'll keep you updated on that as well. Those are my thoughts on Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum. Now, talking about altcoins, obviously there's quite a lot of altcoins that are interesting right now, I'd say. I wanted to focus on a couple of them. I still think BitTensor, so that's Tau, is quite interesting. And that's interesting for the key reason that the Tau halving is in the middle of December. So I still think over the course of October and November, we actually have a very good chance to break above the main resistance level at 440 and 450. And if we are able to get a solid breakout above that, sky's the limit. And Tau can sincerely rally much higher. Then outside of that, I would still, given the strength and the momentum we've seen from virtuals, I wouldn't count this out. I still think virtuals can actually rally up higher, potentially with a pullback into that level at 1.23 and 1.1. But definitely a coin to watch, and I would be surprised if we don't rally into 1.8 and 1.9 from this current structure that we are forming. And then last, but certainly not least, Jupiter. Jupiter is doing quite well. We've been able to reclaim this significant level at 40 cents. We left some imbalances, so again, be aware of the pullback. But ultimately, this structure looks good enough to get a move into the point of control at 50 cents. And potentially, if we don't get a severe reaction there, into the value area high at 57 cents. Great coin to keep your eyes on as well. Fundamentally also amazing. But those are my thoughts. That's what I think you need to know about the market right now, or at least the most interesting and most important bits and pieces. So hopefully that helps. But that's what I think you need to know for now. So thank you for watching, everybody. Take care. Have a great day and bye.